In just over 2 months, I'll be turning 27. And when I was younger, I had this picture in my head of what my life would have looked like by then. But in reality, it's completely different. Some of it's harder than I expected. It's not as pretty as I thought it would be. And today I will be talking about some of my expectations versus the reality of what's actually like. Start with career. I always believed, for starters, that to get anywhere in this world, you needed to graduate high school, then go off to college or whatever works in your country. Every country has a different education system, of course. And then get another degree, and then you have like a well-paid job. I did not follow that route. I tried to go to college. I tried different courses. They all weren't it for me. Whether it was like false advertisement at the start of like the first meeting you had to get signed up there, to trying it and then realizing you've got like physical limitations that can get you to follow through with the job, and then also like the amount of hours you have to put in while also still putting in the work of like making money. So I tried a IT course of application development, but I was told I didn't need a good laptop for it, which was weird to me because I asked beforehand what are some of the specs required. And they said, well, get a cheap one from your grocery store or whatever, which was bullshit because I ended up getting behind on everything else. And I quit. Before that, I actually wanted to be an esthetician. But my teacher was telling me how easy it would have been for me to do that because I am pretty smart. I mean, I'm not like doctor smart, but I can learn pretty well and I learn by doing. So she was like, oh, you can easily do that. And then to the school I applied for, she was like, nah, she's not going to be able to pull it off. So then the school told me that they don't recommend me joining them. So that was also a failed attempt. I didn't end up joining them because you have like purchase a kit, which is a lot. And then I was like, well, maybe if I don't try it, then I will save the money. But if I do try it and then they were right, then I would have lost everything. So after like half a year of the IT school, I quit, went working full time, which is for me 32 hours a week. And then I joined another school after the new school year started, which was for a hairdresser slash beauty artist. They had like two options. It was like a private school kind of thing. You can either do 2 years and be just a hairdresser, or 3 years and add like makeup to it. And I really wanted to do makeup, so I chose that one. However, which we're reaching 13 years now. 13 years ago, I broke my wrist. And ever since that, I have lost some strength in my right wrist. So certain things don't work well for me anymore. I've also suffered from a lot of pain after the break sometimes. Haven't had it in a while, luckily, but I do have something for it in case it does. But because of the fractured wrist, the hair drying and like working above the shoulders, it got too heavy for me, so I had to quit. As well as like going to school 3 days a week, then having an internship 2 days a week, and then I also worked one day of the week and then another evening right after school, and then I would have one day left for homework. And mind you, I was 19, 18 turning on 19. So that wasn't ideal. And I had to quit because of all those reasons. then I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't feel like any of the standard courses they give you in like college or whatever you call it. They all didn't fit me. I was not made for that. So I ended up working just 32 hours a week, still doing that. I did end up doing a nail tech course in November 2019. Doing a lot of it. I've had many courses of it. I'd like to think I'm pretty good at it. And then on top of it, last year, I finished a 20 lesson course for all around makeup artists, which has been my most loved passion. But unfortunately, the reality of it is I cannot seem to find any work in it. I have tried to apply for jobs in the beauty industry. I always get told no. I either get invited for an interview and then get told no afterwards, or I don't even get invited at all. Which most likely the cause is other candidates were better. And it's most likely because they have work experience in that certain branch of the industry. They either have like worked as a beauty advisor before, they've got like freelance makeup artistry things, jobs they've done, or anything. I don't know, but I always get told I was just not perfect enough. Or, well, they always say, like, it's not you, but someone else was just a slightly bit better. But, like, how can I get the experience if nobody wants to hire me? I don't get it. But, well, so right now I have been without a job since late April because I thought I was getting a new job, but they also didn't hire me. I've still been trying to find something. It's not been working well. I had the L'Oreal job I was talking about in previous videos. I had a job interview with them. They seemed happy. They were excited that I had a makeup artist certificate and even came up with ideas of how to use it and benefit from it. And still, I wasn't good enough. All right, well, they did say like, "Oh, L'Oreal really liked you and this and that," but they also like the other one. Like, yeah, well, which if it was like your first or second or maybe even third rejection, it's fine. But I've applied to like 10+ jobs, maybe even 20, and nobody wants to hire me, which is unfortunate because I really thought that at like 26, 27, I would have a job that I was passionate about, that I really liked, that I would be making. I mean, I wouldn't say like 5K a month because I'm no doctor or lawyer or whatever. But I really thought I would be making a decent salary each month. But the reality is, it's harder than you expected. And at the age of like 16, 17, maybe even 18, you're still very optimistic about things. And then the reality hits, and then it's like, you have to try to stay positive still, because what's the point in being negative all the time? But with every like failure that keeps hitting and hitting and hitting you, you're like thinking about whether or not the industry is meant for me or not. But also, if it's not meant for me, I wouldn't know what I'd be doing. I don't know what else I'd be passionate about other than makeup/beauty. I mean, of course, I'm shooting my luck with this, but by the time this would pay off, It'd be maybe like 2 or 3 years later, or maybe even 10 years later, or maybe it will never get me where I want to go. Now, the second home. I expected to have moved out at like 23, around that age. At nearly 27, I still live at home. Which part of it is like, it's fine, it's okay, because you still have a roof over your head, be grateful, and I am. But you want to have your own space, your own rules, your own anything. You want to make your life yours, and you don't want to be over 30 and still live at home. But it's been really unfortunate that the rules over here in the Netherlands have been so hard to get a house when you're like in your 20s wanting your own place. I keep trying, but it's never working out for me. There are so many who need a house. However, they're not getting it. And also the rent is expensive, which, going back to like having no job, timing right now will be awful. But like I said, rent's expensive. Groceries have gotten expensive because of all the wars and everything going on. And also after COVID, everything got expensive and never went down again. There are more people looking for houses than the houses available. And our government likes to help the asylum seekers before their own people, which I am not against them helping others. But like, your own people need help too, and you're choosing them over your own people. And there are asylum seekers or whatever who had to flee because of a war or anything, and they come here. But from what I've heard, some are so entitled. They refuse to like learn the language. They get a lot of things handed to them. They get a house. They get money to follow a course. They get money also for groceries and to buy furniture. And then they're still like, oh, it's too small, the house. Oh, it's not enough. Like, be grateful you've got something. I would be dying to have like my own place, even if it's 1 bedroom. I mean, I had like requirements for my first house or apartment or whatever you want to call it. However, now that I am I'm going to call it desperate need, because I'm lucky I have a house and all that. But now that I am in need of like wanting my own place, I have less requirements or less standards than I did before. However, if there's like a 1 bedroom apartment and the bedroom is 6 square meters, like, yeah, I can fit a bed in it and then it's full. Like, I don't have high standards, but I still need to fit my stuff in a bedroom. And if I can't, then I have to say no. So that's unfortunate. Now, on to the next subject, relationships. I believed that I would be a young mother just like my mom was and like my grandmother was. And well, they became mothers at the age of 19, which I had just finished high school, or like it was a year after I finished high school. So that would definitely not be possible, but I expected at least at like 22 or something like that. However, I'm single. I'm without a child. And part of me is wondering if it's ever going to happen for me. I'm trying to stay positive, trying to manifest like in the next year or so that a relationship will happen and that they will want children as well, and then we will have children, because to me, having children is more important than marriage, even though I would love to have a wedding. But I can also get married at 40. I cannot, will not, and don't want to have children at 40. And I also don't want just one child. I would like more than one, around three. I also come from a family of 3 kids. I've got an older sister and a younger brother. And I have a small family, so I want to compensate for like having my own big or bigger family at least. But it's not in the cards for me as of right now. It makes me sad because some people around me do have relationships. They sometimes they are like so much younger than me and have a relationship, or even for like 3 years, and then I'm like, why them and not me? And I am happy for them. I'm not one to be salty about it or cuss them out or whatever, because I am happy for others, but you can be happy for someone else and feel sad for yourself at the same time. And I do truly hope that soon I will get the chance to experience being in a loving relationship and getting pregnant and having a family of my own, as well as having my own place. But right now, yeah, it really does make me sad. It's really unfortunate. But now on to friendships. And that's one of the things that stayed with me over the years. I've made a lot of friends. I've lost some due to like losing touch, others due to circumstances. But I have realized I have grown so much as a person over the years. Because last year I lost 2 friends over, or well, technically they're 4 friends, over something small, because they wanted to make a huge argument about it. And a few years ago, I would have been so upset about it, and I don't know, I would be maybe crying or like grieving it. And now I am just able to like cut them loose, move them out of my head, out of my life. I don't care. I am at the age where I don't want to keep someone in my life because they once were, or worry about how my life would be if this hadn't happened or whatever. I am wanting to protect my own peace, my own sanity. Um, and if it means cutting you off, then I'm cutting you off, because I don't want negative energy near me. I don't want you spreading hate or whatever. I just want to protect my peace, to protect my tight circle of friends. And it doesn't matter if I've known you for 10 years or 3 years or whatever, because some friendships are more meaningful regardless of how long you've been friends. So I've got one dear friend of mine who lives in Germany. She's like my soul sister. I love her so much. But I've only known her for like a year and a half. And while I have seen her quite some time this year, we don't see each other like that often. We talk close to daily. But I cannot see my life without her anymore. I cannot imagine anything without her in it. She's my rock. I adore her. And we can just talk about anything and it doesn't really matter. And it's just sad that we live so far apart. That once we do get together, it's not awkward, it's not boring, we're just always having a laugh. And I still talk to some people from high school. We're still friends. I still see them occasionally. now that I live close to them, I will see them more often because I did move recently, as you know, but I moved with my grandmother and my brother. My sister lives on her own, and my mother is out of the picture, as well as my father, which I might get into another time. But like, friendship is important to me because, as I have on my arm tattooed, which is a quote from one of my favorite shows, Supernatural. Family don't end in blood, because I don't speak to most of my family, but my friends are my family. You choose your own family, because sometimes friends are more meaningful than your own family. Um, and that's important to know. Now that I've talked about the expectations and reality of what I thought my life would look like in the past, like 10 years that have gone by, I do want to talk a bit about what I am hoping the next 5 to 10 years will bring me. Some of the things I hope to happen. I want to be in a happy and loving relationship. That's like number one. Tied to also having my own place, and then eventually moving together with someone else. So those tie together. In 5 years' time, I'm hoping to at least have a first child, maybe even a second child already or on the way. Uh, because it's like I said, that's very important to me. I'm depending on the person I'd be dating, I might already be married. Or if not, then like I said, I'll wait. I can wait for getting married. Something else I want to achieve. I'm hoping to get a job finally in like the beauty industry, but also, and like I said before, I will make a separate video on it someday, because I've got a lot to say about it. I have my own beauty brand. It's called Alira Beauty, and I am hoping that in 5 to 10 years' time, that will be successful enough that I can live off of it. That I have expanded into whatever, that I've built a community around it, and that all my ideas for it I can finally execute and like have it be successful. And I don't mean successful necessarily that I have to get rich off of it, but finally be able to like sell my stuff. It just shows how unexpected life is, how much can change, how much your expectations are more often than uh, not a reflection of the reality. Because so far, none of my expectations have been met. And I really thought, like, the closer I get to 30, the closer I thought I would have at least, like, maybe have everything ticked off already, but I don't. And it always makes me feel like I'm behind on life. I always feel like my life is on hold. And then you've got those people saying, oh, well, that's not true. Like, you've got like your life ahead of you. Everyone's on a different path and all that bullshit. And I'm like, you think that's helping? You think that's making me feel better? Because it's not. I do not feel better knowing that my path is different than someone else, because someone who doesn't want what I want gets what they want to make them happy, and have people gain confidence, be less afraid of having to hide away. Um, Maybe eventually have stores. I want to like have a real community around it. I was thinking podcasts, pop-up events, anything working with the people. I've got so many ideas about it. I just don't have the funds or the customer base or whatever to execute them. I am hoping to move to England. That's been something on my mind for like quite some years. Actually, before the Brexit, it was already on my mind, but then I was 17, so I couldn't do it. And now that I can, they made it really difficult for me to do so. So it is something I really want to do because I went to London for the first time last November and I instantly fell in love with it. And while I don't have to like live in center of London, I did really fall in love with like the people and just everything about it. And some people may disagree about it. Some English people may disagree about it. But each country has like their pros and cons. And I've always felt like I don't fit in here in the Netherlands. Like I wasn't meant to be living here. And yeah, I really hope I can make it happen. And maybe that's also where my relationship is waiting. Maybe I will date someone from London or living in London or whatever. Or living in a city around London, maybe from Oxford or from Brighton or I don't know, maybe somewhere up north. But it is something that's been on my mind. And I'm trying to like research ways to go there without it being too difficult for me. What else am I hoping for? Oh, I'm also hoping for this to pop off, obviously. And if you don't already, I also have a Instagram and a TikTok. And on there, I will post more like the short form videos, focus more on like being a creator. This is more like long form. I'll be talking here, gaming here. I will do whatever. I'll be doing whatever here. But on Instagram and TikTok, I will be like doing like short makeup videos. When I travel, I will make quick, for example, quick gluten-free restaurant tips because, as I've mentioned before, I am celiac. So I will be going more in about that eventually as well. Maybe do like a gluten-free shopping spree or whatever, or going to a gluten-free restaurant. Baking videos I've been thinking about, or just cooking videos in general. If you've got any suggestions of anything you'd like to see, comment down below. If you've got like your own expectations for reality, like also let me know. I'm hoping this video was useful in some way. I'm hoping you, for those who also feel like they're behind in life or the expectations weren't met, that you're not alone because you aren't. I still feel obviously very behind, especially on the relationship topic, because I'm also to the point that I still have not had my first kiss. So I am really behind. And while it's okay in the sense that you shouldn't get shamed about it, it's also okay to feel upset about it. And your feelings about your own life are justified and nobody should ever tell you otherwise. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope to see you again soon. And like I said, let me know what your video suggestions are or what your expectations versus reality is or anything else you'd like to comment. Bye.